A new waifu deck is here, but is it top tier? Why am I turning into Decade? Hello guys and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we're taking a look at White Forest, which is a deck that I have highly anticipated, and I'm super excited for this. Honestly, I had a ton of fun actually playing this game, or this deck in particular, though the games were not exactly the greatest of games, but this deck is incredibly fun to play. Now, if you don't know what this deck does, it basically utilizes the effects of the White Forest monsters, which send spells and traps to the graveyard in order to activate their effects and then generate advantage off of that. Now, originally, I will say, these two triple attacks were Bystials. Just play the triple attacks. It's so much better. As far as the extra deck goes, don't worry about that too much. This is the extra deck I ended up coming up with, but a lot of these slots are subject to change, but play the triple attacks. The Bystials just aren't really working right now. Not really worth it right now, I should say. So there's that. But let's just hop into the card by card and the explanation. Now, all of these cards are new, so I'm going to real quickly go over them. A Stellar says send a spell trap in the hand or on the field to special summon a light spellcaster tuner from your deck, and then if a spell trap is sent to the graveyard to activate a monster effect while this card is in the graveyard, you can special summon this card. Notably, this means that if other White Forests activate their effect, you now get this guy back. It's great. So it summons a tuner while also getting you an additional guy, which is fantastic. It also synergizes with some of the synchros as well. We have Elzetti of the White Forest. These are both 3-ofs, which is also a level 2 non-tuner. Keep that in mind. Both of these are level 2 non-tuners. The level 4s are the tuners. This says you can send a spell trap from your hand or field to the graveyard in order to special summon this card from your hand and add a White Forest from your deck to your hand. Notably, this can be ashed. That means the activation and resolution can be ashed. So you could just not get the guy on your field, which kind of sucks. So there's that. And it does send for cost. All of these send for cost, so keep that in mind. You're losing the material. Anyway, during your opponent's turn, if a light tuner monster is special summoned to your field while this card is in your graveyard, you can add this card to your hand. Unlike this one, it doesn't happen immediately, so you can't use this on your turn, but notably, it also doesn't add itself back to the hand, so you can use its in-hand effect to special summon itself as well and get the additional search. Very useful. Next up, we have the Sylvie of the White Forest, which on normal or special adds a White Forest spell trap from your deck to your hand. Now, that seems like a really good effect, right? A lot of really good cards have that. We're only playing 2 targets for it. Tails and Woes. That's it. To be fair, there are a few additional cards you could potentially play. You could play Scourge, which is not bad. You could play Beware, which is not great. Mostly due to the fact that it is a normal spell card. If it was quick play, it'd be fine. It'd be actually very fantastic. But alas, it's not, so it's just kind of not worth playing. But you could play Scourge as well, if you really wanted to. However, they're kind of dead cards and not necessarily something that you want to see. So we're only playing the 2 targets. So it's not exactly the greatest of extenders, but it is a great starter. And then on top of that, if this card is in your graveyard, both this and the other tuner have this effect. You could target a White Forest Synchro monster you control or in your grave, return it to the extra deck and special summon this card with negated effects. This is fantastic. This allows you to basically consistently have guys on your field to go into, which is great. And it also recycles your resources, so you only ever need to play one apiece of any of your synchros. We're also playing 1 Rusia, which is just a search target for the most part, and if you control a White Forest, you can special summon this card from your hand, and you can send a spell trap to draw a card, and you can do the special summon effect. Fantastic. That's pretty much it for the White Forest cards. We're also playing the 1 Tails, which just searches a White Forest, and if sent to the graveyard to activate a monster effect, it can set itself, as well as Woes, which can special summon from deck and then immediately synchro summon a White Forest monster, as well as has the same effect, where if it's sent, it sets itself. Now, we're supplementing this with 1 extra engine, that being the Toy Box engine, which is pretty simple. Toy Box allows you to set these 2 cards, either a Toy Tank and a Toy Soldier, or multiple soldiers. And what these cards do is that you can set them as spells and traps from your hand, and if sent to the graveyard as a spell and trap, you can special summon them. On summon, Toy Box or a Toy Soldier allows you to add either a Toy Box, or if you control Toy Box, add a light spellcaster. So this allows you to add Sylvie or Rusia, which is very, very nice. Most notably, level 4 light spellcaster. Or Not spellcaster, light monster. Sorry, my bad. You can either add another toy soldier, toy tank, or more specifically the White Forest monsters, which is great. On top of that, toy tank has the effect where it contributes itself to special summon a level 6 or lower monster from your hand, or if you control toy box, from your grave, which is also fantastic because it allows you to recur again some of your other synchros, which is fantastic. So both of these are incredible and summon themselves off of being sent, which means that you can, off of a single toy box, get a whole bunch of bodies. So all in all, incredibly powerful. And honestly, it's so funny seeing toy box actually be useful. Very useful. On top of that, once per turn, if an opponent declares an attack, you can send a face down card you control to the graveyard to destroy that opponent's monster. It's funny, and no one reads it. As for the rest of the cards, it's pretty simple. It's a bunch of powerful cards. That's it. Just powerful spells and traps, and occasionally monsters. 3 Maxi, 3 Ash Blossom, 2 Called By. There you go. They're the mandatory cards. I'm also playing the triple tack. Originally, these were Bestials. Play the triple tacks. We have the 3 Droplet, the 3 Evenly Matched, the 3 Infip, as well as one apiece of the Mana Reframing. We'll talk about that. And Skill Drain. Skill Drain can be sent for cost to activate your effects, meaning you basically don't play under it. Only your opponent plays under it. Smile. Yeah, it's just the card to play. Now, let's talk about Mana Reframing. Mana Reframing, whenever a spell trap card or monster effect is activated, while you control a synchro monster, you can negate that effect. Great. It's also searchable off of Amritara, which does not require a tuner. Well, sorry, does not require a non-tuner, which notably, both of these guys are tuners. So if you just summon these guys back off of the shuffle effect that they both have to reborn themselves from grave, you can summon this guy, search out the counter trap, and then have a counter trap. Pretty useful. On top of that, we're also playing the 1 Formula Synchron, which can be summoned off of the Diabell. We'll talk about that in a second. We're running a bunch of 6s, most notably Tri-Edge Master and Coral Dragon to draw cards. We're also running the Silvera and the Riselia. Silvera books the field on Special Summon, which is fantastic, right? You can change all face-up monsters your opponent controls to face it down. It also inflicts double piercing and gives your monsters a boost. On top of that, we have the this one, whose name I can't say, which on special sends a spell trap in order to add a light spellcaster or a White Forest card from your deck to your hand. Notably, this is something you can add or you can add woes from your deck to your hand as well, or tails, I guess, as well. So there's that. And then it also gives a boost, and they can't be destroyed by card effects, which is pretty nice. We're playing Scarlet, which is just an option to kind of get an 8 and like for OTK purposes, and there's a few instances where it comes up. This is kind of a burn card for the most part, but it also is still useful just to like clear the field. So there's that. We're also playing the Vsauce Amritara, which also allows us, as I mentioned, to summon or to grab the Refraining, and it's a tuner, which is kind of useful. The Diabell, which on Synchro, if it used a Synchro tuner monster, or a tuner Synchro monster, you could target a spell trap in your grave and add it to your hand. Notably, any spell trap, not just your White Forest cards. So that's pretty incredible. And then on top of that, if your opponent activates a card or effect, you can send a spell trap from your hand or field to the graveyard in order to do special summon a level 7 or lower tuner Synchro monster from your extra deck, grave, or banishment. That's where Formula Synchron comes in. Because guess what? With Formula Synchron and the Diabell, you can make a 10, which could be, I don't know, maybe Baron. Or you've already summoned the Baron and you can now make Chaos Angel. Or you could make Changing, or a myriad of other options as well that are available to you. We're also playing the Chaos Angel as well in 2 copies, mostly due to the fact that having 1 copy of this is pretty easy to make, and then you can also make the second one on the opponent's turn as well, which is again not difficult to do, or not terribly difficult to do. And yeah, being able to make your monsters unaffected by your opponent's monster effect is pretty useful. So that's mostly what we're doing that for. We're also playing 1 apiece of Typhon, Elf, and SP Little Knight. And yes, Elf is legal for some reason. Anyway, yeah, let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performed. Alright, so here we are going first with a fairly decent hand, Maxi, Ash, and full combo. So let's see what we can do. We're going to start off here with Sylvie, because we can search out the woes here, which can then give us an additional send. Now we're going to go for the LZ, which is then going to send the spell, which is going to reset itself, and we're also going to search up the Rusia. Rusia is going to special summon itself and then activate its effect, sending the woes to the graveyard to draw an additional Maxi. You'll love to see it, 10 out of 10. We're going to then synchro here into the Tri-Edge Master, and then activate its effect to draw an additional card. not great, but we're then going to go for the woes here. I search up a Stellar. I don't know what I'm doing here. Yeah, realistically, I should have just kept this set. It was better just as an additional set card. But it's not terrible, because now at least we have to follow up. I'm immediately going to fire the Maxi. My opponent is going to go for the branded opening. I am going to elect to negate here. My opponent will then activate the called by. Well done by them, that's pretty good. But to be fair, the main reason that I'm doing this is because I want to actually put the Baron back into the deck so that the woes is live. That's pretty much what we're doing here. So, that's exactly what's going to happen. My opponent is going to negate the Maxi. I'm like, that's fine. We have the Ash. I'm not really too concerned. And we're going to resummon the Rasilia and then add back the LZ. Rusia, sorry. I don't know what I was talking about. Anyway, my opponent goes for the Albaz here. I'm like, that's A-okay. They're going to fuse away the field. Cool. And now comes Albion. I'm like, that's it? We didn't have anything. Okay. Maybe I should have ashed that, but hindsight's 20/20. We draw a Toy Box, which is very, very useful here, but we're just going to pitch the evenly match to grab up the Sylvie, and then we're going to go for the Toy Box effect here. Toy Box is going to set Toy Tank and Toy Soldier. We're going to then send the Toy Soldier for the effect of the Stellar, and then they're going to special summon my Toy Soldier and the Albaz, and I don't know why they decided to do this the way that they did, but sure, Toy Soldier's effect is going to activate. They're also going to then fuse away again into the Albion, into Mirror Jade, which is A-okay by me. They're going to vanish here in order to go into the Mirror Jade. I'm like, yep, for sure. I'm going to then summon Typhon. This may seem very strange as to why I'm doing this, but the thing is, I can play on the opponent's turn due to woes. So I'm not really too concerned about, like, them doing something, and Typhon just entirely destroys this field. This is one of the few instances where Typhon is not a surrender button, but it's actually just like a good play, because I still have full combo on their turn, and I still have plays through my graveyard, so I'm not really too concerned about anything that they're going to do. So yeah, I also have Maxi and Ash, which are insane. My opponent then decides to Book of Eclipse here. I don't think they know what Typhon does. So there's that. I just shuffle away the Mirror Jade because it's an issue. And then I just get to draw 3. I end up pitching the Toy Box because we already have Toy Box, so don't really need it. And yeah, I just allow them to kind of brick themselves. They go to combat here, I just send the Toy Box. They didn't read. To be fair, they did have Opening and Grave, so that wouldn't have really done anything, but it was funny. Realistically, what I was going to do there is activate the trap card, special summon a guy, and then special summon the one that books. So that didn't end up happening. So good game. All right, here we are once again going first, and yeah, Magnamut's in here. Don't worry about that. We're going to go and normal summon the Stellar, and then we are going to special summon out the Rusia, and then we are going to activate the effect of our Stellar, sending Toy Soldier, which we could just set. That's really one of the biggest benefits of this, is like, oh, that's a monster that also is a spell, which is great. We're also going to be able to chain block here, which is notable, because now we get the spell trap that we want to search, which we end up searching out the tails here. I think woes may have been a little bit better, but it's not really that big of a deal, because we're going to grab up the Toy Box as well. So we're going to activate the Toy Box, and we're going to set the tank as well as an additional soldier, and then we are going to activate the Rusia, sending our spell and drawing into Skill Drain. Yep. Love that. Anyway, we're going to send the tank here with our summon of Rasilia, this one, Sinister Soul, which then allows us to search out the LZ, which is very useful as well. Here we make the Baron, we're going to send the Toy Soldier and grab up the Sylvie, and then we are going to activate the tank, bringing back the 6, and then making the 8 here, which is the Vsauce Amritara, searching out the counter trap, which is pretty damn good. Here the Bestial actually does come in handy, because we can just summon the Bestial and then synchro here into... I'm actually playing Dispotter with the Bestials. Again, I cut that, so I cut the Dispotter. But alas, we're going to shuffle back and then make ourselves the Diabelle here as well. That's a pretty good end board if you ask me. And the Toy Box certainly helped. It also helped that my opponent didn't have anything here, but yeah, we have Maxi, we drew into a Skill Drain, we drew the mana, or we searched the mana reframing, and yeah, we now just get a fire off the Maxi here. My opponent's going to go and call for the Maxi. I'm going to go for the Baron effect here. They're going to go and activate the called by, and I'm like, that's A-okay. The main reason for this, again, is because the Baron can just shuffle itself back, so that's pretty good. We're going to go for the Diabelle here. My opponent's going to go for the Maxi, and I'm like, that's A-okay. Of course, Maxi is a fair and balanced Yu-Gi-Oh card, so of course it's going to resolve. And then the and then the called by is going to take effect. It's fine. It's fine. We still have the counter trap. We still have access to our Bestial Dispotter. We still have access to Skill Drain. I'm not really too concerned. We also have a Druid Worm, and we can also shuffle back the Baron if we really wanted to, but I'm not really feeling up to it. Just saying. Anyway, Called By gets to negate the Maxi, but we are going to reset our spell here. At this point, my opponent just concedes. Understandable. Yeah, having the counter trap and skill drain and full follow-up as well as having the Druid Swarm and etc, etc. It's not exactly like the easiest thing to break, so yeah, that's what happens with no hand traps. Smile. Alright, and here we are once again going first with one spell and trap in our hand, but let's see if we can get an additional one. We're going to start off here with the Sylvie, and we're going to search out Tails. Great, fantastic. We're going to activate the effect. We're going to send and search out the Rusia. We're then going to reset that. And here I'm going to go for the Synchro of Ruselia. This is honestly a mistake on my part. I should have just special summoned the Rusia here, but alas. Now we can grab up the Woes. We're going to then special summon and send the Woes, and then grab up... Well, we searched a Toy Tank, which is honestly not bad. I just set it and pass the turn. That's kind of all that we can do, and yeah, this is why I think I should have special summoned the Rusia, because then I wouldn't have had to go into the Ruselia, and I would have been able to potentially go into that previous play that I did with the Trigate Wizard, but it ends up not being all that bad. Trigate Wizard? That's a different card. The Whozumo, what's it? Edge Master. Right. My opponent then Super Polys my field, which is cute, and they go for the Garuda. They're going to go for the... they're going to go Battle Phase here with Inspector Border, and then I'm going to special summon here with the Rusia, shuffling back the monster. They activate their Time-Tearing Morganite, and then just set to 2 and pass. Here we go for the Woes. We're going to special summon out a 2 from the deck, and then immediately Synchro Summon into Silvera. Now, notably, because of the way that this card is worded, the Inspector Border, we do get to book the field because we are a Synchro monster, so they had a Synchro and a Fusion, so we got to activate 2 effects. So we just book the field, and now we don't really have to worry about anything, except for the 2 trap cards, which are not real. Trust. Anyway, we send the Toy Tank, which is then going to special summon itself, as well as searching out the Stellar. My opponent then pops with Punishment, and they're going to then pop as well the Silvera, which is just not the right choice, because that's just going to go right back into the extra deck, and out comes the tuner. Fantastic. Here comes the toy box, and we're going to set an additional 2 cards. Resetting the Toy Tank is kind of a mistake, but it's not really that big of a deal, because we get to re-summon the Toy Soldier here. Yes, Rusia's effect is negated. However, Toy Soldier still special summons itself after being sent, so yeah, here's another guy. Anyway, we're going to make the Ruselia here as well, which will promptly be met with a Solemn Judgment. I was kind of baiting that out, and yeah, we're going to put that right back, and then now we can summon out our Stellar. Here we just get to summon out the entire field, and yeah, that game is so over. Good game. Alright, we're back with the deck, and while this deck is not necessarily the best deck, I do think that it is very fun and a very cool deck. I really, really enjoy the way that the toy box in particular works with this deck. You could also use, like, Runic and Centurion, but the problem with those is that they don't actually generate advantage for you. They're just kind of like supplementary engines, and it feels very nice to actually use the toy box and the toy soldiers. They just end up complementing this deck very well by putting additional bodies onto the field, while also giving you access to just ways to send additional cards, so it's very, very useful. The Runic cards aren't bad, but I don't think they're nearly as useful as the toy box stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say, especially in regards to Master Duel, where Runic is significantly hindered due to only 1 field spell and significantly less of the powerful Runic spells, so that also helps. But all in all, I still think that this deck is very fun. Yes, there is like Skill Drain in here, which isn't exactly the most fun of games, but with that being said, the overall combo and the way that this deck interacts with itself as well as the opponent's board is very interesting and very dynamic, and I really, really do enjoy it. And I'm excited for the new Azamina cards as well, and some more support for this down the line. But as of right now, it's a solid deck. It's actually better than I was anticipating. I thought it wouldn't do all that well, but it actually did do pretty well, and yeah, it's just a cool deck. It's also not nearly as difficult as I was expecting it to be to play, because it's pretty self-explanatory, right? A lot of the cards just kind of do the thing that they're supposed to do. They special summon themselves, they get sent to the graveyard, and then reset themselves. It's pretty simple, but yeah, you just make Baron, because it's a powerhouse. Baron is such a powerhouse. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, likes very much so appreciated, and remember to always Stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.